So our first speaker is Mr. Keith Grasley. Doesn't really need an introduction. This guy's got the skills to be able to introduce himself pretty effectively. But the title of his speech is Time Changes Everything. And this is a 5 to 7?
Correct.
5 to 7 minute speech. Please welcome Mr. Keith Grasley. Does Bart want us to wear these?
I don't know. Bart?
No, he says that.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Hello, John.
I am one of those really weird people that likes taking care of the grass in my yard. I find mowing very therapeutic because you follow a line and you get to see immediate results. I love the smell of freshly cut grass. I like putting down fertilizer every 6 weeks and watching my yard turn a deep green. Weed eating and edging are some of my favorites because they make the yard look nice and crisp and clean all along the edges. I'm so pathetic that I even watch YouTube videos on how to mow my grass to make it look greener. I've even gone as far as looking into buying the same machines they use on golf courses just to mow my lawn.
Oh, brother.
I know, it's very sad, but it's true. Every Saturday I have to maintain my grass if I want to keep it in tip-top shape. If all I cared about was keeping my grass perfect, I could probably have the best grass in my neighborhood. But the truth is, I care about a little bit more than that. I want a really nice yard that has decorative curbing. I want a yard that has mulch beds. I want plants and shrubs that give it dimension and variety. What I really want is a fire pit that I can roast marshmallows with my kids. And what I really want is an outdoor patio where I can have barbecues. But here's my dilemma. Every Saturday I've got a choice to make. Do I maintain my perfect grass, or do I spend my time working on a project in the yard? If I ignore my grass, the odds are I'm probably going to get some weeds and yellow spots. But at the same time, I really want that fire pit. So here's my options. Option number 1 is for me to ignore my yard for a week and build the fire pit. The upside is I end up with a fire pit. But the downside is it's going to be really hard for me to mow my grass if I let it grow for 2 weeks. And I'm probably also going to get some yellow spots and those weeds, and it's going to take time to fix them. My second option would be to maintain the grass and build the fire pit. The problem with this is it's going to take me all Saturday long. I'm going to work really hard, but I will end up with a perfect fire pit and perfect grass. The third option would be to hire someone to mow my grass for me, and then I do the fire pit. I like this option because it does give me the fire pit, but I'm also kind of particular about how I do my yard. And so I know that person probably won't do it as well as I will just because I care more. Ladies and gentlemen, Madam Toastmaster, my message today is about time management. How we choose to spend our time will have massive implications on the outcome of our life. It's the most common excuse you'll hear people say is that they don't have enough time. That excuse I find ironic because when you dig a little deeper, you often find that that very same person that doesn't have the time was able to watch every episode of Breaking Bad and Suits, Game of Thrones. They were able to go on vacations. They were able to go out to eat, and they were able to hang out with their friends. We say that we don't have time, but we find time for the things that we want to do. Time cannot be the difference between those who get ahead and those who don't, because we all have the same amount of time. Therefore, the difference must be how we spend our time or what we choose to spend our time doing. Mowing the grass represents all the things you've got to do to maintain your life. Things like going to work, paying the bills, cleaning the house, going to sleep, waking up. That's mowing the grass. It's all the things you do to maintain your life that require a lot of your time. The problem with doing all those things and spending so much time on them, it doesn't change anything. Life stays exactly the same. The fire pit represents change, progress, and improvement. It's something you created that didn't exist until you did it. It represents something permanently changed in your life. Every one of us has to maintain our life, but if we're not progressing, it's often because we're blaming time as the excuse when really we're spending our time maintaining instead of changing the game. When you spend your time changing things, life changes. Now that you know the difference between the fire pit and mowing the grass, let me go back to the 3 options I have. Number 1 was to ignore my yard for a week and put in the fire pit. Number 2 was to maintain my grass and build the fire pit. And the third option was to hire someone and then build the fire pit. The question is, which of the 3 options is the right one? The answer is all 3. Because all 3 change the game. That may surprise some of you because you know how particular I am about my grass. Option number 1 was the one where I neglect my yard for a week and I run the risks that I get weeds and yellow spots. But guess what? I get the fire pit and my yard will recover. The fire pit is the one that changes the game. When we spend time on things that change something, life changes. Here's the point. There's a million things you have to do just to maintain your life. Then there are things that change your life. That's where your time should be spent. If you find that you're not progressing, there's a good chance you're spending so much time maintaining that you're not changing the game. It's like focusing on just the grass while you ignore the rest of the yard. You are the most important in your life, Jill. And your time is incredibly valuable if you choose to use it for things that propel your life forward. It's very easy to stop in the moment and want to sit back and relax. But if you stay there for long, boredom, complacency, and unfulfillment are going to follow. Merely maintaining your life is a sure way to unhappiness. We all were meant to evolve, to grow, to stretch. And we can't do that by maintaining. We must change the game. Remember, when you spend your time on changing something, life changes. Let's all go roast some marshmallows.